Hello, friends and colleagues. Welcome back. This is the Think Catalyst podcast. My name is Ricardo Ferraris, and I'm here with my business partner, Vivek Kuchibotla. Happy New Year again. Hope everyone is enjoying the beginning of the year. Vivek, how you doing?
Happy New Year. I'm doing good. I was trying to think what the English translation of Año Nuevo, Vida Nueva is. Uh, New Year, New Life, I guess would be the rough translation. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're embarking on a new year with new ideas and new suggestions.
There you go. Excellent. The last time we were talking, which was at the beginning of the year, in our first podcast for this year, we did some New Year's resolutions for advertisers, for clients, and that went down very well. And now we're going to do some for the agencies. You have worked at the client side and the agency side. I've worked mainly at the agency side only, but nothing like some New Year's resolutions for the agency folks, huh? What do you think?
I agree. I agree. This is a business that needs some new ways of working and some new approaches. So we have some suggestions.
All right.
So, agency friends, please pay attention, listen carefully. It might be useful.
I know this is free advice too. This is free.
This is free advice.
There
This
you
is free
go.
advice.
Wisdom.
In fact, not now that we think you mention it, if it wasn't in a podcast format, we'd be charging for this, right?
Absolutely.
There we go.
There you go. Wisdom of almost 70, for sure, 70 plus years of experience and work between us.
And scars.
There you go. Battle scars.
Battle
War
scars.
stories. You want me to start? You want to start?
You go. You
All
go.
right. I will, because it was one of the things that we talked about often, and we didn't do as much when I was running agency, and that is focus on really reducing client churn. And that should be a resolution, a proposal that all agencies should make this year, especially as over the last 5, 6 years, there's been a shift from AR assignments to more project work. And so, you want to have your best clients are the ones that continue to purchase your services ongoing, and you don't have to go and pitch at everything. We'll talk about pitching in a second, but it's interesting. Agencies, they just take for granted that they're going to lose a number of, of accounts every year, and don't really put resources or budgets aside to try to save the account or to try to reduce the churn. So what do you think, Vivek?
I think no managing director wants to lose an account, but I think that it's gotten to a point where the reaction to a client complaining is to go through the motions and round up the usual suspects and do a couple of changes on the account and try to involve yourself a little bit more while you can until the next account blows up. And the truth of the matter is that that doesn't work very well. And that's why the churn never gets reduced, right? So I think the thought here is don't go through the usual motions. Um, Actually spend some time bringing outsiders like us to figure out what the problem really is and address the problem. And if that problem involves the advertiser, so be it. You have to involve the advertiser. You can't take responsibility for solving something that is out of your control.
Yeah.
So if you really go deep and you do it properly, you can reduce churn. If you just go through the motions, nothing will really change, I think.
Churn is terrible because it gets you into one of those vicious cycles too, it affects the culture, it affects the team. When you lose clients, you got to let people go. People, are assigned to client contracts. And that creates a whole negative effect in terms of, the motivations or the lack of motivations, and you lose the spirit. So there's a lot of other effects that take place. And the other thing who also hurts in this whole thing is your other clients, the ones that you would think are generally stable. They get affected too by this when they see that the agency is down and out. So, or going through a rough patch.
To bring out one of my trusted sports analogies, when a team gets used to losing, they're lost.
Hmm.
And I think the same thing with an agency. When the agency just takes it in stride that they're going to lose some business, they're going to lose business.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. So we move on to the second one.
Yeah.
I'll take this one. Um, before actually talking about the resolution, I would ask our agency managing directors who are listening in to imagine the situation where you are a client, and you're going to see 4 or 5 agencies in the space of 2 days, and you're going to go through back-to-back presentations. And if one of those agencies doesn't stand out, the conclusion of the client will be, oh, it's all the same. I'm just going to go with the cheapest one. So it makes it really important to sharpen your positioning so that you can stand out from the sea of sameness that is presented to advertisers. So the business has gotten too large, too complicated. There's too many technologies. There's too many specialists for an agency to hope to be everything for everyone. So figure out what it is that you do well and make that your positioning and focus on it. And that way you'll provide value to some small segment of the target population of the clients out there, but you'll provide value to them and they'll be willing to pay for it. You can't be all things to all people anymore.
How many credentials presentations have you and I seen in the last 2 years, now going into year 3 of Think Catalyst?
Over 100.
Yeah.
And in my 20 years prior to Think Catalyst as a consultant, I've probably seen another 100.
Yeah.
And it's a sea of sameness.
Yeah. The focus is almost on how to be the same or similar and not how to be different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the positioning is manifested in many different ways. I mean, there's credentials, but then there's the office, then there's the presence in social media, and you need to be true to your positioning in those media as well. How many offices have you gone to? How many agency offices have you gone to that have little or no branding and look like just a generic office in a generic building somewhere? That's part of your positioning. Just a shout out. I think the one agency that does office decorations properly is Ogilvy.
Yeah.
I think they do stand out. Pretty much all the others just sort of ignore principles of branding when they do it.
I was going to say that Ogilvy's pretty consistent. Pretty consistent.
No matter where you go.
I'm
It's
going to an
all about the
agency this
colors and the
afternoon.
ogilvyisms.
I'm going to go to an agency this afternoon to go visit them. I'll let you know how that goes.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
I hope it's an office and not a WeWork.
so there's a lot of sameness, and it's interesting, products and services always reintroduce themselves and upgrade and improve, and there's ultra and there is new, improved, better than ever. Same thing with the service, same thing with an agency. You can always improve, and it's not just the latest trend and fad. Now we're doing AI. Well, you've probably been doing AI for more than you think. But what are you really, really good at? You know, how do you really stand out? What makes you different? What makes you special? So,
There's a reason why a McDonald's restaurant looks like a McDonald's restaurant in Mexico, London, and
sure.
Shanghai and Bombay.
The Big
They
Mac
do the branding right.
and the Big Mac is the same everywhere, which is, you know exactly what you're getting.
They do the branding right. We need to learn from them. We
Yeah.
do.
All right, let's go to number 3. I'll take this one because I've been in many of these, way too many that I've wanted to be in. And that is, these days, as AOR assignments have gone away and more project work has come in, net, the agency is usually pitching more. And pitching more means tired teams. It means not attending current clients. It means longer hours. It means more chances. And while we're not saying don't pitch more, we're saying, probably pitch less and win more. Yeah. And do it better when you do it. There is a lot of things that agencies should consider before they go into pitch and really sort of stack up their chances of winning better if they do a little bit of the pre-work, a little bit of the due diligence up front. Is it a good client? Do they pay well? Do they believe in advertising? Are they a bad client? Is it a client that pitches every other year? Do a little bit of homework on who the prospect is. And really, do we really want to be in this pitch? Do we really think we can win it? If you think that you can't win the pitch, you probably want to stay out of it and say thanks, but no thanks.
Will
And
the client value what we are good at, and are they willing to pay for it?
absolutely. And you may actually get a client calling you back saying, "Hey, what do you mean you won't pitch my account?" Well, the due diligence suggests that we're not going to probably be there. So, and often clients, call in agencies just to, fill in a quota that they need to put in terms of a pitch. Sorry, I interrupted you. I went a little bit long.
History has taught us that playing hard to get is a good strategy.
Yeah, sure.
And being just a little bit too desperate, no, not good. Not good at all. So yeah, pitch less, win more. And this refers back again to the sharpen your positioning. Because once you sharpen your positioning, that immediately points out who potentially are the types of clients that will value what you position yourself as. And just one more thing I'd like to say here is a lot of agencies, when they're thinking about new business, they think about, well, I don't have a client in the banking industry, so I need a bank. I'm not a big fan of that because you know what? You might not be the right sort of agency to be in the banking industry. and maybe banking is not the right example. Maybe retail is the right example. Not all agencies do retail well. Sometimes an agency will win a big retail account, and by the time that account leaves in a year or two, the agency will basically be laid waste
Right.
by the client.
Sure.
So don't choose by industries. Choose by what you do well and what a specific client actually needs done well.
Yeah.
But don't say I don't have a client in X industry, so I need one. I don't think that's the right way to do it.
Go work with clients who want to work, who you want to work with, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
It's a,
Absolutely.
sorry, I got passionate there, Vivek, but I get passionate about pitching. And many times I pitched businesses because it was a corporate mandate to pitch the business, knowing that we were not gonna win it. But need to be in it. And I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that. There's corporate clients that are bad at that. And this is where actually a consultant can come in and help them out and and help agencies out through the process as well. If you're going into a pitch with 20 other agencies, Vivek, your chances are 5% to begin with. You want to be in that kind of an environment? So pitch less, win more. Be selective.
Can I do a little bit of psychological manipulation to end this little point here?
Yeah.
And this is an appeal to all senior agency people who work in your business. Think about all the weekends, all the nights that you've spent pitching. Think about all the holidays that you've had to cancel or cut short because this is the pitch that's going to define everything. And do that inventory for the last 2 or 3 years, and you'll probably want to cry when you do it. You'll probably want to cry, and then maybe you'll reconsider. Pitch less. Pitch less.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
You reminded me of a number of different situations that I went through like that.
Yeah, I remember 4 or 5 years ago you were in Europe and you had to cut short a holiday uh for some pitch. I don't know if you won it or not, but I do remember
It was in
that
Europe. It was in the middle of August, and I was in Europe vacationing. It was
ah,
awful.
that sucks. Bueno.
All right. The
Um
last one. And
well,
we have a lot of advice, guys. We have a lot of advice, but we thought we'd put together four. And one of our resolutions is to do these in about 20-25 minutes. We're doing good. The first one was 20 minutes, just slightly over 20. But we have a lot of advice, and you'll have the whole year available to follow us with our podcast for more advice. But here's the fourth point for today, and then we'll go to some conclusions.
you do it.
Oh, I
You
did the
take
last
this
one.
one.
I did the last one.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, given that there's lots and lots and lots of agencies in the market and there's a lot of pitching going on, um, you really need to improve your storytelling. Storytelling in the agency world is not good. It's not good. And the general impression that exists with clients that all agencies are more or less the same is, in my opinion, particularly in large part due to the fact that when you're telling your story, you're not telling it properly. And what clients are seeing is it's just a similar product. It's not really different. I don't see why this agency is different or better or right for me. And so I'll just go with the cheapest one. So um, storytelling is comprised of a lot of things, but you really got to make sure that what you're doing is top notch. It's different.
You and I have heard a number of agency executives saying, I don't need you guys to give me any advice on storytelling, just get me in front of a client and I'll do my thing and I'll win him over. And it doesn't work that way, Vivek. It really doesn't work that way. And interestingly, the KPI on that is the number of failures. If you think about it, the KPI is
Exactly.
if your key performance indicator is huge failures, you got to ask yourself, I'm not doing something right. And it's probably a combination of things, but storytelling is right dead center, is smack in the middle.
That's interesting how everything links back together with other things we're talking about. But yeah, the more you pitch and the less successful you are, the greater the chances are that your storytelling sucks. And since it's very difficult to mark your own homework, as a friend of ours likes to say, um, and you need someone from the outside to come and look at it and give you an objective point of view on what you're doing well and what you're doing not so well. And the argument for someone from the outside to come in also is reinforced by the fact that it's a highly political situation in a pitch to point your finger at someone else and say, I did my job right, but you did it wrong. It may be true, but it's a minefield. So you don't want to fall into that. You want to have someone who can look at things from a client perspective and who actually understands how stories are told to evaluate what you do and give you feedback on how to improve it.
Right.
It's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, it's not just, by the way, it's not just in the presentations or in the storytelling. Um, do this everywhere, wherever you have assets, your assets, your communications asset communicating to someone, whether it's your website or social media. Try to be consistent with what you're saying and how you're saying it as well. And maybe even train 4 or 5 people, senior people in your agency, to tell the same story. You'd be surprised. You ask 5 people at one agency what they stand for, and they'll give you 5 different answers. That's bizarre,
And you'll find also a lot of, I like this phrase a lot. I use it often. You find people who do PowerPoint karaoke. They're basically reading the PowerPoint. They're not actually telling a story. It's surprising how many of those are out there. And you absolutely, PowerPoint karaoke will get you nowhere.
So happy beginning to 2024. And whenever there's a beginning of a year, we always kind of like reset our objectives, rethink about what we want to do, focus on 3 or 4 things, the usual resolutions. It's fun to do them for the agency. It's just fun to do them for the business side as well. It's fun to do them for, your professional growth and development. It's not a bad thing. There's a lot of advice around. Vivek and I are just happen to be focused on advertisers and client relationships in the advertising and media business. And we like to share what we've learned over numerous years. And as the business becomes more competitive, as the business becomes less distinctive, one has to find ways to be different, to be better, to be right, to compete better in the market, and not just, be part of the scenery that everyone sees and not really make any difference, not be the commodity. We don't want to be a commodity business. creative business, the media business, it should never be a commodity business. When you have powerful media and creative ideas, your business could be explosive in terms of its results.
Four things. Reduce client churn, sharpen your positioning, pitch less, win more, improve your storytelling. Four things make a big impact on your business in 2024.
Good stuff. Vivek and I are Think Catalyst. Thanks for following us. See you in our next podcast. If you are interested in any of our services or need some advice or we just wish to have a conversation, ring us up. You can look at us up at our website or DM me or Vivek through our LinkedIn accounts. Many of you have our email addresses and phone numbers. Contact us. Happy to help. Vivek, have a good one. See you next week.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.